This is part one of your introduction to WordPress. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 2 or 3 plugins that we're going to be using for this project, as well as setting up some templates, as well as getting you started on your very first theme. So, if you remember from the last video, this is your dashboard that you're going to be working with. Now, the ecosystem of WordPress and how it essentially is run is based off of pages and posts. Now, posts are supposed to be blog posts, pages are static pages. Pages are what we could consider, like your about page. Contact would be your contact page. That type of content. Posts are a little more dynamic. You've got a feed of posts. You click on one, it shows you your full post. Well, what we're going to be able to do is be able to create our own custom content, our own custom post types. In that regard, we'll be creating work post types. Some of you may want to incorporate something like testimonials. The great thing about this is that instead of just creating a bunch of posts and having to categorize them, this is a blog post, this is a work post, they will actually show up as work, testimonials, pages, posts, so on and so forth. Basically streamlines the whole UI experience on the back end of the website. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and create we're going to go install our very first plugins. So you're going to go over here to hover on the left-hand side to plugins. We're going to go add new plugin. And look at my notes here. And the first one that what we're going to be using is custom post type UI. So you go ahead and type that in there, custom post type UI, search plugins. All right, that's the one we're looking for right there. Install now. Okay. Page load. Now, this is very important. Every single time that you install a plugin, make sure you activate it. So, activate. Okay, that's the first one. We need to add another. And this one's going to be called Advanced Custom Fields. Search. Okay, Advanced Custom Fields. Install. Okay. Activate plugin. Okay, great. Now, there's one more that we're going to install, but we probably won't get to it for a little bit. And basically what this does is it gives you the ability to go ahead and create a very simple contact form. If you remember a few weeks back in class, I gave you some code for you to go ahead and set up your own contact form. Well, this basically streamlines the entire process and gives you the ability to use something called a short code and basically embed it in your page, and it creates the contact form for you. That's it. You don't have to do anything on top of that. So what we're going to be using is this real simple contact form. Actually, yeah, I want to use this one. Install now. Okay. Activate. Okay, now, congratulations. You have successfully installed your first 3 WordPress plugins. Happy day. Okay. Now, what we want to do first is that we want to go create our first custom post type. And then after that, then we're going to basically create our custom fields to be able to occupy this post type. So our post types are going to live down here in the CPT UI. So we're going to hover over it and we're going to click Add New. Now this right here, this is super important right here. This post type name. This name has to be a web-friendly version. So if you can see right here, reserve post types, post type, page, attachment, or blah, blah, blah. Ignore those. But what we're looking at is that these will be lowercase, so no capital letters, no spaces. So if you just want to write it all as one word, or if you want to use underscores or use hyphens, that is entirely up to you. But for the sake of this example, we're going to go and say work. Now, the label is what you're going to see on the back end. So it'll appear over here. So as you can see right here, work, singular label, project, description. And this can be any description that you want. Okay. So I'm going to go over here to work. And there we go. We have the first custom post type. Now, obviously, when you create your first one, you're not going to have anything appear over here. The reason being I do is because I've already created this. So there was something that was already sitting in the database. So for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this in the trash. Go ahead and empty my trash. Okay, so we have no work found. We'll go back down here. Oops, manage post types. Yeah, and see, now as you can see right here, I have duplicates. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. All right, now let's go back to our custom fields. Once again, as you can see right here, I've had to duplicate this. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this stuff out. All right, starting from scratch. So field groups. Field groups gives you the ability to create sets of fields that will be applied to different post types. For example, work. You may want to have a photo. You may want to have a description as to what what went into the project. You may want to have a link to the website where it's currently being hosted at. Stuff like that. Why would we want to do this? Well, WordPress by default gives you the ability to add just content, some categories, maybe a featured image. That's all fine and good, but it may not necessarily fit into what we're looking to do for all of our post types. For blog posts and for regular pages, that may work, but for this instance, we want to really give our custom post types a really custom flavor and make it a little more streamlined for our users. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add a new field group. Internet's being slow. Okay, we're going to go ahead and call this work. Now, post type. I want to show this field group if the post type is equal to work. This is super important right here because if you do not say work, the fields that we've created here will not show up. All right. Now we're going to go and add a field, and we're going to go ahead and call this project photos. All right. And as you can see right here, as soon as you tab down or you basically exit out of that field, this field name, which is very much like the name of the post type, single word, no spaces, underscores, and dashes are allowed. This is what we're actually going to be introducing into our template. Okay. Now, to make this a little more streamlined, we're going to go ahead, instead of just if we were to integrate an image upload, the image upload would only allow you to upload one image instead of multiple. So we're going to go ahead and select a WYSIWYG editor. And this field instructions right here is basically telling the user what we would want to do with this field. So select or upload the images for this project here. Do we want to make this field required? Yes. You do not want to allow the user to be able to submit a new work project without actually entering the content into this field. We do not want to set a default value. We just want to say a basic toolbar, because since we're only going to be using this for uploading images, we don't want to give them the full the ability to insert drop quotes and italics and bolds and all the other stuff. Do we want to show media upload buttons? Absolutely, because that's the whole point of this field. And no, we're not going to worry about any kind of conditional logic. So if we go ahead and close that, we have now created our very first field. Now, one more thing. The great thing about these custom fields, it gives you the ability to hide or show some of the default fields that WordPress provides for you. Uh, remember, if you remember me saying that you get basic content, there's a permalink, um, comments, authors, all that other stuff. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to go and hide all of that, and go over here and hit publish. Now you can see that the status of this has now been published. So if we go over here to work and add project, you can now see that we can add a project. So I'm just going to call this profile photo. Add a media. As you can see, I've got a nice photo of my sparkling face here. Now, this is super important right here. Alignment, none. Link to media file, no. The reason why I'm saying no is because I don't want to be able to create a link to this image. By default, for some odd reason, I don't know why WordPress does this, but by default, when you insert an image, it automatically creates a link to that image. I hate it, drives me crazy. And then I'm just basically going to upload the full-size image. When you upload an image to WordPress, it creates a couple different sizes of the image. I'm going to go ahead and integrate the full size. Okay, insert into post. There is, you can see, it's my very handsome face. Okay, so I'm going to go and hit publish. All right, so now we have successfully created our very first project, and we with our custom post types and our custom fields. Okay, now that's all fine and good, but how do we view our content? Well, if we go up here to Doug's portfolio, click this, well, there's nothing found. How do we get there? Well, it's because we need to go create a theme. So we're going to go to Appearance, go to Themes. And as you can see right here, these are default themes that come with WordPress. Well, as conventional wisdom suggests, yes, this project is about you creating your very own theme. So that means we need to open up Dreamweaver. Go over here to Files. Make sure this is clicked. So that means that you're going to be syncing everything up. Just give it a second here. All right, so, and as I said in the last video too, your view is going to look a little bit different from mine, just because I've been added as a collaborator with all these projects. But what you want to do is that this is my username, this is my site. You want to navigate down to WP Content. You're going to open that up. Then you're going to navigate down to Themes. Okay. Now within Themes, and for future reference, if you can't see, you can hover your cursor over this name field and basically expand it. So it makes it a little bit easier to read. So over to Themes, we're going to right click on there. We're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this project, or I'm sorry, portfolio. Let that load. Okay, now we have a very first folder called portfolio. So, what are we going to do next? Well, first we need to create, there's a couple things that we need to upload in order for WordPress to be able to recognize our theme. First things first, it is a screenshot. The screenshot is what's actually going to show up right here. Okay, when you click on this, it gives you a quick preview of what the theme is. Now, this is a screenshot off another tutorial that I just completely jacked. This is off of Treehouse. Once again, as I said in class a few weeks ago, Treehouse, if you're looking for a little more information and knowledge on various other topics, Treehouse is a phenomenal resource. So a screenshot has to be called screenshot.png, and it has to be 600 pixels wide by 450 pixels tall. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this to my local folder. And remember, with the way this works, WordPress sets up, or I'm sorry, Dreamweaver sets up a local folder. and this just happens to be my my location. So there's my screenshot. And what we need to do is that we need to set up a style.css, okay? And I'll explain that to why here in a second. So I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver. And I'm basically going over this folder. I'm basically going to click this up arrow. It means put. So as you can see right here, the style.css that I added, and as well as the screenshot, are now there. So what is the significance of this style.css? Well, style.css is what gives WordPress, in addition to styles, it also gives you all of this text in this documentation that you see here. All right. So in this case, I've just said I've called the theme name Doug's Portfolio. The theme URI, I went ahead and just threw my own personal domain name in there. Description, what is this for? This is the personal portfolio for Doug Nickum. I've labeled myself as the author. Once again, here's my URI, dnickhamdesign.com. Versions. I'm not going to go into too much depth about this, but use traditional software version numbering. 1.0, 2.0, those are major releases. 1.1, 1.2, those are mid-major releases, basically adding features. But if all you're doing is modifying bugs, then it's just 1.0.1. If you want, Wikipedia is a great resource if you want to learn more about version numbers. Tags I really wouldn't worry too much about. The tags, you would add a whole bunch of tags as to what this type of theme would be, as if you were uploading it to either ThemeForest or WordPress for people to use your theme. Additional description, I wouldn't worry about any of that other stuff. Okay, that for future reference, this style.css file is in the WordPress snippets that I gave to you in the previous post. Okay, so now that that's there, if we go back to our themes file or our themes page, all right, you hit refresh, it says something's been added to the screen. It says broken themes. The following themes are installed but incomplete. Themes must have a style sheet and a template. Well, we've got a style sheet, but we need a template. Okay? So, if you remember back to what a few weeks ago when I talked about the naming conventions, at the very least, WordPress needs an index.php template. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file. And by default, Dreamweaver is going to try to create an HTML. So it's going to be untitled.html. Make sure you delete everything, and you're going to want to say index.php. It has to be PHP. Hit enter. Go ahead and let it upload. Now, I'm going to go ahead and double click that to open that. I'm going to delete out all this stuff. And I'm going to go back to my notes here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and post that in there. I'm going to go ahead and explain all of this in the next video, but for all intents and purposes, this is a super basic index.php file, just for the sake that we can go ahead and save this and be able to activate our theme. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Let's go back to WordPress. Hit refresh, and there you go. We now have Doug's portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. As you can see right here, there's the name, version number, the author. And if you hover over my name, you can see down here in the left-hand corner, it says dnickhamdesign.com. That's the URI, the selection, and the tags. So I'm going to go ahead and click activate. Now you can see that my theme is now active. All right. So we're going to go back up here. Let's take a view of what my site looks like. And there you go. Doug's portfolio is proudly powered by WordPress. There are no posts, just another WordPress site. Fantastic. All right, so that concludes part one. In the next video, we're going to look into what functions.php file does, as well as start setting up our very first work templates, as well as our single work page that will then work with the new content post, or the new content type that we created.